Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there's this expectation of like total precision.
Right, yeah.
Like you break your arm, the x-ray shows that jagged white line, and the orthopedic surgeon just points and says, there it is.
Exactly, it's binary, and the pathology is entirely visible right there on the screen.
Broken or not broken, it's a clean environment.
Yeah.
But if you step into the reality of a chief information security officer at a major European financial institution, suddenly that x-ray machine is just totally broken.
Oh, completely. You're looking at a diagnostic landscape that is just hopelessly murky.
Yeah. You are staring at your security dashboards, and they are literally just a sea of red alerts.
It is the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
Mhm.
And, if you are that CISO listening to this deep dive right now, you know this pain intimately.
You really do.
You aren't lacking visibility, you are drowning in it.
So today, we are putting ourselves right in your shoes. Our mission for this deep dive is to evaluate a really fascinating new proposed solution called CyberAId.
It's an interesting one for sure.
We're looking at a stack of sources today. We've got a comprehensive research position paper, a workshop presentation deck from the IEFE conference on distributed computing, and a detailed slide narration guide.
And all of these outline this AI-driven cybersecurity platform that is engineered specifically for the European financial sector.
Right. And the core question we need to answer today is whether the architecture proposed in CyberAId actually solves the current bottlenecks in your SOC.
Yeah, or if it's just, another layer of noisy, expensive technology that you have to manage.
Exactly. So let's unpack the actual illness first, because before we evaluate the cure, we have to agree on why your SOC is currently underwater.
That's a good place to start.
And our sources make a pretty compelling claim right out of the gate. They say you do not have a data problem, you have a reasoning problem.
Which completely reframes the issue when you think about it. Just consider the sheer scale of the battlefield here.
It's massive.
The European financial sector moves over 100 trillion euros in assets. They are processing upwards of 400,000 transactions daily.
Wow.
And since 2020, cyber attacks in this specific sector have grown by 238%.
That is insane.
It is roughly 3 times the attack volume of the next most targeted industry.
3 times the volume. And to fight this, you've built a massive infrastructure. You have these enterprise SIMs ingesting just petabytes of telemetry.
Yeah, but the research points out a terrifying statistic.
What's that?
Those highly tuned SIMs, they are actually only detecting about 21% of MITRE ATT and CK techniques.
Wait, only 21%. That's it.
That's it. The disconnect between data collection and threat detection is glaring. Traditional rule-based detection creates this very rigid floor.
Because it relies on known signatures, right?
Exactly. Signatures, hashes, known indicators of compromise. But advanced persistent threats, they don't operate on known patterns.
No, they're using living off the land techniques or moving laterally using legitimate credentials. They just blend in.
Right, and that is exactly why the dwell time of an attacker inside a financial network is still measured in months, not minutes.
Right now, your SIAM isn't really a diagnostic tool. It's more like it's a seismograph in an earthquake zone.
That's a great way to put it.
It's recording all the shaking, thousands of tremors a day, but it absolutely cannot tell you which buildings are collapsing until the dust settles.
Because human analysts simply lack the raw cognitive bandwidth to synthesize that many heterogeneous signals across firewalls and endpoints fast enough.
Yeah, 2/3 of SOC teams can't keep pace, and most actual breaches are preceded by alerts that were legitimately generated.
But ignored.
Exactly, ignored because there was just too much noise.
The cognitive load on your Tier 1 and Tier 2 analysts is the actual bottleneck here. So, if human reasoning is the choke point, artificial intelligence looks like the immediate silver bullet.
Oh, totally. I hear this pitch constantly.
Yeah.
Just license a massive LLM, pipe your SOC telemetry into it, and let it go to work.
Yeah.
Problem solved, right?
Well, the CyberAId paper draws a hard line against that exact approach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dropping a monolithic LLM into your SOC is a recipe for operational disaster.
See, that feels almost counterintuitive to me based on the stats in the paper itself.
How so?
Because the sources highlight some incredible narrow wins for LLMs. I mean, they point out models autonomously exploiting 87% of one-day vulnerabilities just from reading a text description.
Yes, they do.
And multi-agent teams showing a 4.3 times improvement in exploiting 0 days. They're hitting a 0.97 F1 score on domain-specific intrusion detection. I mean, that sounds exactly like the reasoning engine we need.
Okay, those are impressive metrics, sure, but they are incredibly narrow. A narrow win on a benchmark does not equal an enterprise platform.
Okay, fair point.
Think about the rigid constraints of a financial SOC. A single giant LLM cannot persist state across multiple distinct tenants without data bleed.
Yeah, that would be a huge GDPR violation waiting to happen.
Exactly, and it cannot reliably map a novel attack vector to complex European regulations like DORA or NIS2 without hallucinating legalese.
Right, which it does all the time.
Most importantly, it cannot generate forensic artifacts that will actually survive a rigorous legal audit.
Okay, so if I'm a CSO, and you're telling me I shouldn't just buy a massive, unconstrained AI brain, but my legacy signature tools are failing, what is the play here? I mean, I can't just rip and replace my SIEM overnight.
Well, the whole point is that you don't replace it. CyberAId argues for what they call hybrid grounding.
Hybrid grounding. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means the AI must reason over your classical SIEM and XDR telemetry. Your classical tooling still handles the high-throughput data ingestion and the deterministic detection.
Okay, so you keep the legacy stuff for what it's good at.
Exactly. It provides a mathematically stable ground truth.
That makes perfect sense. So the SIEM is basically the nervous system collecting the raw sensations.
Yeah.
You know, the network spikes, the failed logins.
Right.
And the AI acts as the frontal lobe, interpreting what those sensations actually mean in context.
That is the exact architecture. The LLM agent layer provides the cross-domain synthesis that your SIEM is completely blind to.
I see.
Then the outputs from the AI reasoning flow back into the SIEM as dynamic detection rules, enriched context, and automated SAR playbooks.
So we are essentially augmenting a deterministic floor with an AI reasoning ceiling.
Yes.
But the structure of that AI ceiling is really what caught my eye in these sources. They emphasize it is not just one giant brain taking all the input.
No, not at all.
It is a highly specialized virtual security team operating on a co-located multi-agent runtime.
Right, because if you look at how a highly functional human SOC operates, you never have one person doing everything.
Never. You burn them out in a week.
You have malware reverse engineers, threat hunters, compliance officers. CyberAId explicitly mirrors this division of labor to reduce hallucination and latency.
And the orchestrator of this whole setup is the central router agent, right? The CRA.
Okay.
I see this thing as the air traffic controller of the SOC. It receives the incoming high-severity events from the SIEM, scores them, and then dispatches tasks to a team of 7 specialist agents.
And those 7 specialists are designed to cover the entire cyber resilience lifecycle autonomously.
Give me a rundown of the team.
Well, you have the threat intelligence agent mapping external indicators, the vulnerability assessment agent scoring internal exploitability.
Okay.
Crucially for this sector, the compliance verification agent maps real-time findings directly to DORA, GDPR, and the AI Act.
Plus the behavioral analysis agent looking for insider threats, right?
Yeah.
And the incident response agent drafting the containment playbooks.
Yep, and don't forget the forensic analysis agent preserving chain of custody evidence, and the DevSecOps agent watching the CI/CD pipelines.
It's a full staff, but I mean, anyone who has managed a team of highly specialized experts knows they constantly step on each other's toes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if the threat intel agent wants to immediately null route a server, but the compliance agent says, wait, we need to isolate and log the traffic for a mandatory GDPR disclosure first. How does the system not just freeze in an endless debate?
Conflict resolution is a massive hurdle in multi-agent systems, but the architecture solves this by wrapping every single event in a security context object right at the API gateway.
Okay, what's inside that wrapper?
It carries the client ID, the user role, and the specific regulatory constraints. And that context object follows the event through every single agent boundary.
So there's absolutely no ambiguity. Every agent is operating from the exact same baseline constraints from millisecond zero.
Correct. Furthermore, all the agents are forced to emit their findings in a standard finding schema.
Meaning they speak a heavily structured language, not just free text generation.
Exactly. And the central router agent uses calibrated confidence scoring to resolve conflicts instantly.
What happens if there's a tie or like a really low confidence situation?
In that case, it escalates to a human. There is also a dedicated reporting capability that bypasses the CRA entirely for compliance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if the compliance agent determines a mandatory reporting window is closing, it has a direct, low-latency path to execute that without getting stuck behind a massive threat hunting queue.
Let's ground this in the CISO's reality for a second. Having a virtual team of AI agents operating at sub-second latency sounds phenomenal.
It does.
But, and this is a big but, if this virtual team gets spooked by an anomaly during the end-of-quarter financial close and unilaterally decides to isolate the core banking database, I am handing in my resignation.
You're probably fielding a massive lawsuit, too.
Exactly. I cannot blindly trust autonomous agents with the keys to the kingdom.
Trust is engineered in this platform, not assumed. The researchers address this through a bounded autonomy model, wiring 3 distinct human-in-the-loop tiers directly to the CRA.
Okay, so Tier 1 is fully autonomous. I imagine that's reserved for actions that are highly reversible or based on absolute certainties.
Yes, things like blocking a known malicious botnet IP at the firewall. Low-impact, highly reversible actions.
Got it. And Tier 2?
Tier 2 is gated. This handles ambiguous cases that don't meet a strict confidence threshold. The AI does all the heavy lifting. It analyzes the telemetry, identifies the threat, and drafts the entire containment playbook.
But then what?
Then it hard pauses. It waits for a human analyst to review the logic and click approve before a single line of code is actually executed.
Which means Tier 3 has to be explicit, documented approval for catastrophic level actions.
Exactly. The AI can suggest isolating the core database, but it physically lacks the permission to do so without a human's digital fingerprint authorizing the move.
It acts as a hard fail-safe.
I love that. And underpinning all 3 of these tiers is an append-only audit log. Every input, every tool the AI calls, every confidence score generated is immutably recorded.
So the AI cannot go back and rewrite the history of why a decision was made.
No.
That perfectly satisfies Article 14 of the EU AI Act regarding human oversight. But how are we grounding the logic itself? LLMs are notoriously eager to please.
They are very prone to hallucination, yes.
Right. So how do I know the compliance agent isn't hallucinating a DORA reporting requirement just because it sounds plausible?
They utilize a strictly partitioned RG system, retrieval augmented generation.
Right.
Instead of the AI relying on its parameterized training weights to answer questions, it is forced to retrieve context from 4 isolated, continuously updated sources.
What are the 4 sources?
Operational telemetry from your logs, external cyber threat intelligence feeds via STIX and Taxi-DORA protocols, authoritative bases like MITRE, ATT, and CK, and finally, the literal regulatory text of DORA, NIS2, and GDPR.
So it's technically and legally grounded. It can't hallucinate a GDPR rule because it actually retrieves the real text of the law and cites it before generating the response.
Yes, and the vector databases containing that RAG knowledge are treated as highly sensitive encrypted assets themselves,
to prevent an attacker from poisoning the well. So we have a secure, trustworthy system inside the perimeter. But the researchers push this even further by looking beyond the silo of a single bank.
This is my favorite part of the paper.
Yeah, the concept of federated knowledge. It's arguably the most disruptive element here.
Historically, the financial sector has been terrible at sharing threat intelligence. I mean, banks are terrified of accidentally leaking customer PII or violating data sovereignty laws.
Oh, completely. By the time a novel attack indicator is finally shared through official industry channels, 3 other institutions have already been breached.
CyberAId solves this by proposing the sharing of accumulated agent knowledge.
So sharing the newly synthesized detection rules, the behavioral baseline.
Exactly, the new skills the AI learns, without ever sharing the raw customizable data that generated those insights.
That's huge. How do they actually execute that securely?
Through secure, multi-party computation and differential privacy. The mathematical models of the agents are updated collectively across institutions, but the underlying telemetry remains completely siloed.
Think about the asymmetrical advantage that creates. I mean, a tiny e-money startup gets to inherit the defensive immune system of a massive Tier 1 legacy bank. Seamlessly, and without anyone violating GDPR. The rising tide lifts all boats.
It fundamentally alters the economics of cyber defense, and the platform allows for modular capability packs to plug into this ecosystem as well.
Yeah, they detail digital twins, which use LLM-driven red team agents to continuously attack a digital replica of the bank's infrastructure.
To safely map out exploit paths before a real attacker finds them.
And they also mention quantum tokens for unforgeable 2-factor authentication on massive bank-to-bank transfers. But the add-on that really changes the game for a CISO is the eBPF instrumentation.
The extended Berkeley packet filter. This provides incredibly low overhead kernel-level telemetry on edge devices.
Things like ATMs, point-of-sale terminals, mobile gateways. This is huge because advanced attackers routinely bypass user space endpoint detection. They use rootkits to lie to the operating system, so the traditional SIEM thinks everything is totally fine.
But eBPF gives the behavioral analysis and forensic agents X-ray vision directly into the kernel.
Wow.
They can see the actual system calls and lateral movement on a POS network at sub-second latency. It completely nullifies user space evasion tactics.
It basically expands your visibility into areas that are traditionally total blind spots.
It does, but theory is one thing. If you drop this hybrid architecture into a massive environment, does it actually clear the backlog or just create a new, faster type of noise?
Right, the million-dollar question. So let's test it against the real-world use cases the authors provided.
Let's do it.
Consider a major retail banking environment. Tens of thousands of servers, legacy mainframes interacting with modern cloud APIs, petabytes of logs.
Under normal circumstances, an orchestrated attack here generates thousands of disconnected alerts across 10 different security tools. It's chaos.
But with CyberAId, the eBPF feeds that kernel-level telemetry directly to the behavioral analysis agent and the CRA for pipeline triage.
And they instantly connect the anomalous network spikes with the failed identity logins.
Once confirmed, the incident response agent automatically executes a Tier 2 playbook, isolating the compromised segment while waiting for human sign-off.
Simultaneously, the forensic analysis agent begins preserving the memory state and network logs in a legally admissible chain of custody format.
But the crucial differentiator here is the parallel processing. While the technical containment is happening, the compliance verification agent is automatically drafting the mandatory DORA incident notice.
Which is incredible. Generating a hyper-accurate DORA-compliant report within the strict 4-hour reporting window while your network is actively under attack is a logistical nightmare for a CISO.
It really is. Having an agent drafted in real time, pulling in the precise forensic data automatically, is just a massive operational relief.
You aren't scrambling to assemble the puzzle pieces. You are simply reviewing the completed puzzle and executing.
It actually solves the reasoning bottleneck. It contextualizes the alert, maps it to regulatory obligations, and prepares the legal and technical response all at the same time.
Let's look at the payment service provider's use case, too. Currently, rule-based AML detection is highly ineffective.
Oh, it's essentially security theater. Criminals know the rigid €10,000 reporting thresholds.
So they use smurfing.
Right, breaking a €50,000 transfer into a dozen smaller transactions across multiple shell accounts.
And rules-based engines completely miss it because no single transaction triggers the alarm.
But CyberAId attacks this by building dynamic transaction graphs. It doesn't look at isolated transactions. It maps the relationships across disparate e-wallets and card ecosystems in real time.
It uses graph analytics to visualize the layering techniques, while the behavioral and threat intel agents correlate the shell accounts. It sees the entire forest, rather than just inspecting individual trees.
It's an incredibly robust blueprint. But as any CISO will tell you, security is an arms race. There is no such thing as a silver bullet. To truly evaluate this, we have to acknowledge the unresolved risks and how the architecture attempts to future-proof itself.
And to their credit, the researchers are highly transparent about this. They envision moving away from massive monolithic system prompts. The future is what they call skill-based agent adaptation.
Meaning, instead of trying to cram every piece of knowledge into the AI's core instructions, you give it composable version skills.
Exactly. An agent might dynamically load an AML Europe skill package or a PCI DSS version 4 compliance skill, depending on the specific event context.
It makes the agents modular, sure, but it introduces immense complexity regarding conflict resolution at the skill level.
Oh, massive complexity.
Like, if an AML skill flags a transaction pattern as highly suspicious, but a newly loaded PCI compliance skill suppresses the alert because it misidentifies the pattern as a standard vulnerability scanner. How does this system auditably resolve that contradiction?
That is a massive logic puzzle that is still an open research question.
But honestly, my primary concern as a CISO goes straight to the supply chain.
Right, skill poisoning.
Yes. If we are downloading these skills from a federated network of other financial institutions, aren't we just opening the door to catastrophic supply chain attacks?
It's a huge risk.
What if an advanced persistent threat compromises the federated network and poisons a skill package before we download it? I'd essentially be allowing my agents to download malware directly into their reasoning engines.
The threat surface of externally authored skills is immense. Agent-level adversarial robustness is a critical open research area right now.
So how do the authors propose handling it?
They argue that skills must be provenance-bearing. They must be cryptographically signed, versioned, and strictly attributable to a verified, trusted source.
So you have to know the exact cryptographic identity of the developer who built the skill,
Right.
and mathematically verify it hasn't been altered in transit.
Precisely. This is also where that digital twin capability proves its worth.
Ah, right.
You don't deploy a new skill directly into your live SOC. You deploy it into the digital twin and subject it to adversarial validation.
You actively try to trick the newly updated agent to see if the skill introduced a backdoor or a logic flaw.
Exactly. There's also the mathematical challenge of federated consistency. Balancing privacy budgets when multiple banks are updating overlapping models simultaneously requires immense computational overhead.
It's really a completely new frontier of offensive and defensive operations. Let's synthesize this evaluation.
Good idea.
We started by asking if CyberAId solves the fundamental data versus reasoning bottleneck. Based on the architecture detailed in these sources, the hybrid multi-agent approach layering AI reasoning over classical deterministic SIME tools, combined with bounded autonomy, eBPF telemetry, and real-time regulatory mapping, well, it offers a highly viable solution.
It really does. It shifts the burden of synthesizing tens of thousands of alerts from human cognition to machine processing, while utilizing hardware-level telemetry to catch evasion tactics.
It is a compelling, necessary evolution of the SOC.
It is. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over, one that extends well beyond the immediate technical architecture we've discussed today.
I'm intrigued.
If we reach a point where these federated AI agents are acting autonomously, reacting to novel threats faster than human cognition, what happens to legal liability?
Wow. Yeah, the legal framework is vastly underprepared for that.
Exactly. Imagine a scenario where your autonomous Tier 1 agent receives a subtly poisoned skill package from the federated network. Operating under its pre-approved autonomous parameters, it misinterprets benign traffic from a partner institution as an active attack.
Oh, no.
And it automatically counterattacks, effectively taking down an innocent third-party network.
That would be a disaster.
Who does the European Union hold responsible under DORA or the AI Act? Is it the AI vendor who built the CRA? The federated network that distributed the skill?
Or you, the CISO, who authorized the Tier 1 autonomy parameters in the first place.
Exactly. It's a legal frontier we haven't even begun to map.
That is the exact scenario you need to be gaming out with your legal team tomorrow morning. Right now, your seismograph is printing miles of paper, and you're struggling to read the tectonic shifts. CyberAId might finally give you the capability to predict the earthquake, but you're still the one who has to sign your name on the evacuation order.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We invite you to take these concepts, hybrid grounding, bounded autonomy, federated knowledge, and see how they might reconstruct your own organizational security strategy.